Welcome to the Female Blueprint, where we break free from the boxes that life tries to put us in. I'm Dr. Courtney, pelvic floor physical therapist, investor, and founder of 360 Wellness. And here, we help you design a life that's unapologetically yours through real stories and unfiltered conversations on health, wellness, business, and living boldly as a woman. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the Female Blueprint. I am so excited to get going today with my first real guest. I could not think of a better first guest for this podcast than my amazing friend Alida. She is incredible. She is an esthetician. She's a health coach. She's a total powerhouse when it comes to building a brand and a business. She's also a mom to two beautiful little girls. And she just helps women feel their absolute best every single day. But beyond that, her story is going to blow you guys away. She grew up in the Mormon church. She's lost her mom at a young age. She's been raising two beautiful little girls without that blueprint for motherhood. And yet she still manages to create a life and career that's so incredibly inspiring. Alida, welcome to the Female Blueprint. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. I can't stop smiling. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you for starting your podcast. There's genuinely no better person I can think to start this, especially this title. I love this podcast already, and I'm so excited to see everyone else that comes on here. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. So many stories to be told, and I'm just like, okay, here's the platform. Let's just do it.
Yeah, no, you're amazing, and I'm so excited.
Okay, so for people who might not know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and what life is looking like for you right now.
Okay, so let's see. So my name is Alida Brock. I am 28 years old. I have two little girls, and I own Flourish Wellness in Gilbert, Arizona. It's a med spa and wellness center, and I take a very integrative approach to healing the skin, and it's just mind, body, skin is kind of our approach. It's the Flourish way. We do labs here, we do facials, we do wellness. So we just encompass all the things. And I originally started my business because I felt like there was a gap. And as an esthetician who has treated skin now for 7 years, I initially started with just doing facials, and I could clear clients. It was amazing. It was so fun. And then it got to a point that they wouldn't stay clear if something came up, if they went on vacation or a stressor happened in their life. And it was so frustrating because I'm very confident in my ability as an esthetician, but they couldn't stay clear. I couldn't keep them clear for some reason. So I decided to dig deeper, and I became a health coach and ended up treating it from the inside out and outside in, which has just allowed my clients to have longer term clearing and healing. I care. And I think in the service industry, you really develop such deep relationships with your clients that you're like, wait, I love you. I want to help you in any possible way that I can. And I really able to reach that kind of fulfillment with my clients because I care about every aspect of their life. If they're eating, if they're drinking, if they're sleeping, if they're pooping, I care about everything on top of just what they're doing with their skincare at home. And so they're all my besties. It's so fun. And now I have
as it should be.
So it's amazing. It's so fun.
That's amazing. Okay, so now that we're on the topic of Flourish, how did we get there? Tell us your story. Did you have a crazy moment, a pivotal moment in your life where your wellness tactics had to bring you out of the dead, or how do we get here?
So thankfully I haven't had that in, I guess, my own personal health crisis outside of PCOS to the point that I needed to completely reverse my healing, But growing up, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 2 years old and ended up passing away when I was 8. And so growing up, it was all things wellness. We had this saying in our house, the whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead. And we weren't allowed to
wait, that's still true.
It's we weren't allowed to have sugar. We weren't allowed and I say allowed, this was for the sake of my mom's life. We grew up in a very this is life or death for us. And so I grew up in, I guess you could call it a crunchy household. We eliminated fragrance. We only ate organic foods. We had fruits and vegetables. We ate a very Mediterranean diet growing up because my mom's from Spain. And we really tried to implement all these things growing up for the sake of her health because we wanted her to be around for a long time. There's 6 kids at stake, with the oldest being 18 and the youngest being 8 years old, and 6 kids in between. So like there was a lot growing up that really influenced, I think, how I am now. And my mom always wanted to be a nutritionist. That was, if she were to be able to go to college, that's what she would have chosen. And she
Oh,
pursued motherhood first. And so she never got to fulfill that. And as the daughter, I really wanted to follow in those footsteps, but also I did find a huge passion for health because I saw her take both the Western and the more Eastern approach to treating her cancer. She did chemotherapy and radiation, but she also was doing her enemas and juicing and like doing all of her grounding and yoga and all of her internal work as well
yeah.
to kind of combat all of the effects of the Western care that she was also receiving. And so I love that like I was able to see that balance between the two. And personally, I've always just kind of been a health nut since then. I feel like I was exposed to a lot more of like health conscious decisions at a younger age than probably most people were. And I do think that it influenced me in some way. And so growing up, like in high school, I knew I wanted to do like nutrition or nursing. So I did an EVIT program for that. And then I ended up going to college for nutrition and nursing. And then I dropped out because of COVID. And I ended up going to aesthetic school because that's another huge passion of mine is all things
Yeah.
beauty. And it's just like such a like a mom job, you know, it's just so fun
Yeah.
and low stakes, like low stress. And so I loved just following in that path, but I started off as a waxer when I first started aesthetics,
Mhm.
and then I moved on into doing facials at a med spa, and then I was let go overnight, and that like really pulled the carpet from underneath my feet, and I just didn't really know where to go from there. And I, at the time, like my husband had just lost his job. I was pregnant with my second kid. I had just had a miscarriage,
No.
18-month-old at home. And so I'm also a Leo and I have a little bit of an ego there of like, I can't go beg someone for another job while pregnant and also just having lost my job. Like, no one's going to hire me.
Mhm.
I have to either go work at Trader Joe's or I'm going to go solo and start my own business.
Yeah.
And at my previous job, it wasn't a very internal external approach. And that's something that I, to my core, have always really believed in, even in aesthetic school. I was the one asking why, why? Well, why does acne happen? Why is there glycation in the skin? Why is this happening? And there was never an answer. Like
Mhm.
the knowledge about the internal external when I went to school was very surface level. Like
Yeah.
they really didn't believe that there was much gut connection. It was just like, oh yeah, like too much caffeine, not enough sleep, the obvious, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Wasn't like what kind of bacteria in my gut is making bacteria happen even more on my skin and things of that nature. So
Right.
I just always wanted to dive deeper. And that's the approach that I wanted to always take with my clients. And so as soon as I started my business, I decided that that's what I was going to do. I was going to get my health coaching certification and I was going to start offering labs and showing my clients why they were having all of these internal, external issues because there's always a reason. And so
Yes.
that's how I got started and that's how I've built my business to where it is now. And that's why I now train other estheticians and my team. And that's just, it's the Flourish way. It's the way that we approach skin from an
Yeah.
external approach.
I love that. And you have changed like so many lives from that. And I obviously resonate with this a little bit too, because like my company is 360 Wellness. It's a pelvic floor therapy, but like I'm looking at the internal side of things as well as like their whole life. Like
Yeah.
you have to. It's like if you just treat the skin, or if I literally just treat the pelvic floor, like you're missing out on so many influential factors that are causing that issue. Like you're not even getting to the root of it. You're literally just topically treating it, literally like to the pelvic floor and topically treating the skin. Like there's so many avenues to it.
Yeah.
I cannot talk about this more.
Trauma plays a huge role in it too. And I think that it's like and this is, I think, pretty common in the service industry, we become therapists for our clients.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we get to know a lot about them. And I think that unless if you're really addressing that aspect of it too, especially in your work that you're doing, trauma and the pelvic floor are like sisters. Like,
Everybody holds trauma in the pelvis.
yes, they go hand in hand. And same thing, like your stress amount that you're enduring affects your skin as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you brought up a point about having PCOS. Tell us a little bit about that because a lot of women struggle with PCOS.
Yeah.
So, do you still have it? Like, what's the
Okay.
deal?
So I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 17, but I can tell you from the day that I started my period when I was like 12 or 13 years old on Halloween, like that day changed
Halloween.
my life. It was like the worst day of my life, and
Yeah.
it was the most terrifying thing I had ever like had up until that point happened physically to my body.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, and I have a bunch of sisters, but I would say I grew up in a pretty private family, and like
Mm-hmm.
I knew what a period was, but it's like I think that there are some things that are more reserved of like what your mom typically helps you with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
growing up with a dad that I don't know, he after my mom passed, like he had married different ladies who weren't, I guess, just didn't take me in as their own,
Yeah.
best way to put it, and
Mm-hmm.
weren't helpful when it
Yeah.
came to those kinds of things. So my periods were so debilitating. Like I have given birth naturally, and I can tell you that the periods that I had in high school or unmedicated, not naturally, but
Yeah.
unmedicated. I would rather give birth unmedicated than have the period that I did in high school. Genuinely, like
Wow.
that I was throwing up. I would pass out. I would get lightheaded. I would have cramps for 2 weeks straight, and it was debilitating. And I would have little to no bleeding. But for
How
2 weeks out of the month, I was bedridden.
how do you think that happened from growing up in like a crunchy-ish
Yeah.
household?
Let me tell you. So,
Give it to me.
because now looking back, I'm like, of course that happened. Well, studies have actually shown that, like, if the trauma that your mother endures while like she's pregnant with you or even your grandmother can actually affect whether or not you have endometriosis, PCOS. It's all like a lot of that is linked to trauma. Outside
Okay.
of like epigenetic factors like things like diet, lifestyle, stress, all of those also play a role, and a little part of it as well as genetic of just your body's ability to pass things or inflammation wise,
Mm.
right? Because we're born with the
Mhm.
gut of our mothers and that is of their
Mhm.
grandmothers. And so we are a byproduct of everyone who came before us in that way. But I would believe that some of that was from trauma, but also um my stepmom at the time would not let me eat anything that was not 100 calories or less. So it's like
Oh my
100 calories
gosh.
carbs, 100-calorie protein shakes, and she thought she was doing me a solid. Like this woman was
And how
petite.
old were
She was
you?
I was 9. Well, between the
Good.
ages of 9 to 14, and that was what
Mm.
I was allowed to eat, and I was very much well aware by her telling me that I did not look like her kids, and her kids
Mm.
skin and bones, like fast metabolism, love that for them, but I was born with a little bit of beef, you know? And so
Spaniard, baby.
oh, yeah,
Your
got
mom.
in the so and I don't it was that kind of, like, diet, and also, like, at the time, I'm spraying my little, like, Ed Hardy perfume, I'm using Lysol and using the
Showering in Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Work hand sanitizer every 2 seconds in middle school. I've got that all over my body, and I mean, eating candy, eating snacks, and eating things like that I mean, in middle school,
Yeah.
it's after my mom passed and, like, we moved up to Utah, and there was, like, a whole different shift of our life. Like, we went from, like, whiter the bread to quicker you're dead to, like, only having Wonder Bread and Twinkies in the
Mm.
pantry. So
Mm.
completely different life, but then the people that I was living with, like my new family, their metabolism was not mine. And so I did gain a little I wasn't
I
like
resonate with that.
your kid, but like I did gain some weight. I've always been a dancer. I feel like I just have a lot more curve as a child than other
Mhm.
kids did who did soccer or tennis or like the cardio sports. I wasn't doing that.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I do think that all of those things played a role. Also, like, when I first started my period, I was using Tampax. Like, I was using the toxic products, the ones that were giving me
Mhm.
and all the PMS
Yeah.
symptoms. I would
Yeah.
take Midol at night, and Midol has caffeine in it, and so I'd be wired all night long. Like, I wasn't drinking energy drinks
Wouldn't
at the
even be sleeping.
like, I wasn't sleeping, and so it's like for 2 weeks straight out of the month, I was not sleeping. And also, I
Mhm.
was a stressed kid, like, I had just lost a parent and also was trying to navigate my teens without a blueprint, and that was stressful in and of itself. And so, I think that my PCOS was a byproduct of so many different things. And then going into high school, I was I took some things, like, that I some teenagers take when they're being irresponsible. And like that, I think also affected my hormones tremendously.
Yeah.
And so just like it's
Yeah.
accumulation of so many different things. But when I was 17, I met with a naturopath and I'm like, I literally cannot live with this anymore. Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
get a hysterectomy. Like,
Yeah.
I can't because I was already told I couldn't have kids. I'm like, I am at my wit's end. I'm in so much pain for 2 weeks out of the month.
Being told you can't have kids as a teeny bopper?
Yeah.
How horrifying.
And well, and so at that point anyway, like I was like, okay, well, that's crushing.
Yeah.
Like when my entire dream in life was to be a mother and having
Yeah.
that just like blatantly at 17 told
And
me like,
like
no, it's not
what's who says PCOS automatically means you can't have kids? Like
right. Right.
what?
Well, it's like no one told me about insulin resistance and all these other things that come when having PCOS.
Lifestyle.
And lifestyle and diet. And like at the time too, like during this time, I was doing CrossFit. I was eating a protein bar and a V2. Like
Oh gosh.
that
Yeah.
was all I would eat. Like, of course, no
Yeah.
wonder like my
Yeah.
symptoms were the worst that they had ever been. But I remember being
Yeah.
in high school and having to wear a TENS unit on my back, like in order to even function. Like I'd pass out in the middle of the courtyard in high school because of how bad my cramps were. Like it was
Mm.
so bad, genuinely. Like
Yeah.
I would rather give birth again.
Oh my gosh. And I've heard these stories. So many women develop pelvic pain symptoms resulting around like their periods and,
Yes,
PCOS or endometriosis.
I think sexual trauma also had a huge
Mm.
in
That too.
how that processed everything for me because that had happened in my teens, and so it's
Yeah.
just, like, so many things I think accumulated to having the worst periods ever.
Mhm.
And so, anyway, I went and saw a naturopath, and she put me on all these, like, little wonderful tinctures and vitamins and different things, and within 6 months and I had forked over my own freaking money to see this lady, and she was in the
Mhm.
back of a Nature's Finest in a little room.
Mm.
It was funny.
Yeah. You're like, "I don't even know who if I trust you, but here's my money."
Well, it's like
As a 17-year-old.
I've been dismissed by everyone. It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's normal. It's just a period. Welcome to femalehood." I'm like, "No, like, I don't like
Mhm.
this. Take them
Yeah.
out." Like, I
Yeah.
don't wanna
Yeah.
hear. So,
Yeah.
anyway, she ended up or prescribing me all these different things, and I took them, and within 6 months, I went from that terrible birth of a period, to none. No pain, no
Oh,
cramping. I would have a
good.
full I went from having, like, that 2-day spotting to a full 7-day period, very healthy, normal, every 28 days, and, like, since then, I have not had any issues with my period. I have struggled way less with, like, weight fluctuations,
Yeah.
food, skin concerns, like,
Yeah.
she reversed so much damage that I had, and now looking back at all the tinctures and the supplements, I'm like, "Duh," like, I can
Yeah.
see it now, everything, like, how
Hand over the recipe. Come on, give it to us.
she put me on dandelion, which is, like, extreme liver
Yeah.
support. She gave me tons of calcium and
Yeah.
burdock and all these different
Yeah.
herbs. And that, like, was really, like, where I would say my own personal testimony of, like, supplementation and, like, what I guess God or the universe has put here for us, like, that's when I was
Mhm.
like, "Dang, this stuff freaking works." Like, it's not
Yeah.
the Night-All that's gonna change my period.
No.
Like, that didn't change
No.
anything. Gave me insomnia, if anything. But
Yeah.
no, it's like I can function, and thankfully, by the time my time came to start having children, it happened very easily for my husband and
Yeah.
I. And I'm so grateful for that because, again, after having been told that I wouldn't be able to have children and then not having that be one of my trials in life was a huge blessing.
Oh, absolutely. The story tells itself. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
It's usually like some people, it takes like a pivotal moment or like to get to that point where you're just like so fed up and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Mhm.
I need to do something different. Like,
Totally.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned going through this adulthood or teenager years and even early adulthood without a blueprint. Okay,
Yeah.
so growing up in the Mormon church, losing your mom at 8 years old, what blueprint of like womanhood did you have as like a little girl? Like, what'd you think?
Yeah. Um, I would say I had a lot of examples of what not to be. Like, unfortunately, that was kind of the writing that was in my plan of
Yeah.
But thankfully, like I didn't have, I would say, much of a blueprint until the last 5 to 7 years, like since my dad's
Mhm.
most recent marriage for myself personally.
Mhm.
But growing up, like I had a best friend and her mom was really amazing to me. She took me in like her own and didn't have to, but she did anyway.
Mhm. Mhm.
And unfortunately for my own personal experience, I didn't find much community in my church. I know that a lot of people have really great experiences with that. That wasn't my case. So I didn't
Mhm.
find much peace, I guess, in the church. But what I'm grateful for growing up Mormon was that I built a really strong relationship with God and
Mhm.
Jesus Christ. And that for me was like, I guess it was just like my center, my foundation and my own person that like I know that I was never, I'm going to say abandoned because I did go through a lot of abandonment
Mhm.
as a child between
Mhm.
losing a mom, but then also with like my dad getting remarried and remarried and
In
remarried,
and
like
out, in and out.
now and having siblings one day and not having them the next. Like I dealt with a lot of that. And so growing up not having a blueprint, I'm not gonna lie, like it becoming a mother was something I was extremely insecure about. I was like, I don't know if I am going to be good. I don't know if I'm gonna be terrible because I don't remember my mom. Like my first step
Yeah.
literally told me, like, she's dead, get over it. Like, you're not allowed to have pictures of her. And she would get upset anytime I tried to talk to my dad about her. And that's
Oh,
just like it was
no.
suppressed. And so my memories of her were gone. Like if you
Yeah.
realize that young, your memory, then it's gonna be gone. And so unfortunately I lost, I would say 90%, if not more, of the memories that I would have had with her. And then my yeah, and so anyway, just the women that I had did not care about who my mother was
Mhm.
and didn't care to keep her alive and
Mhm.
didn't take me in as their own. And so
Yeah.
I guess myself, I have a lot of things that I think thankfully just come naturally when you're a mom. And I really I would say I obsess and hyper focus on things that I probably shouldn't as much,
Yeah.
motherhood, because I'm so insecure
Yeah.
about doing the wrong thing. And I have processed a lot of things now in therapy, and I think it's helped me become more confident in myself. But I'm very jealous of like my friends whose moms show up when they're postpartum and make them meals and take care of their babies. And like I do see those gaps, especially becoming a mom. I feel like it's become harder not having a mom now, more so in motherhood, when
Mhm.
like you see all their friends with their moms and how helpful and like how much they remember of their childhood. That's just, it's not something that I can relate to. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I'm trying to do things differently for my kids.
Yeah, I this is why I just love you so much is because you and I have literally the same story growing up. Like I lost my mom when I was 10, very tragically. Also, dad remarried multiple times, multiple stepmoms, and none of them had kids
Mhm.
until later in life. I mean, like when my mom passed and I went and lived with my dad with my brother, like stepmom with no kids and it's just like, "Oh, here. All
Yeah.
right, let me figure it out." And you just don't have any idea. You go about life and you pick up things from other people and other moms. Thankfully, you had an amazing friend who had a mother that like kind of swooped you under, like, and you just learn different things. And whatever you learn is like, I guess that's the way, right? Until you learn otherwise, right? So, when you became a mom the first time, what is like the number one thing you kind of had to figure out on your own?
Yeah. Um, okay, this was breastfeeding. Breastfeeding for me, like I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to breastfeed, but man, I made it the hardest possible way that it could have been for myself. And like
Tell us more.
I read every book, I bought every course. I was so prepared. Like I went in, I'm like, who needs anyone? Like motherhood, it's like so easy. Like I've got this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it because I read all the books, of course.
I
And
read the books. I got it in the bag.
I listened to the podcasts. I did everything. And thankfully I have a lot of older sisters, but uniquely enough, none of them had to do what I was doing at the time that I did it. So like all their kids were older and some of my sisters didn't breastfeed. one of them did, like, very consistently, because she was able to be a stay-at-home mom. And so she didn't have to figure out the pumping and the breastfeeding and the hours and the times and the bags and the things and all the things. I
Mm-hmm.
went back to work 4 or 5 weeks postpartum with my first, and I was pumping. And I
Yeah.
was having to pump every 3 hours and then breastfeed when I was home. And so learning how to do that, like I had no idea what I was doing. It created a lot of anxiety. I ended up with postpartum depression because of it. Like I felt like I was a cow, and
Yeah.
just trying to work and also have a newborn and also deal with postpartum anxiety. That is something, like, unless if you go through it, it's a whole different ball game of anxiety. Like I've had anxiety in different times of my life, but postpartum anxiety, it is such irrational fears that, like, I can't even compare to other times of my life that I've dealt with anxiety, because you think that every action that you do, at least in my case, was going to kill my baby. And
Yeah.
I could not sleep. It's like I didn't sleep because I felt like I had to be watching her, because of
Mm-hmm.
course, as soon as I get home from the hospital, I learn what SIDS is. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh my gosh. So, like, you're telling me she could
yeah.
pass in her sleep. And that was so just traumatizing.
Yeah.
And again, it being my first time and not having much community, like,
Support.
I'm
Yeah.
the first of my friends to have kids. And so I didn't have any like besties that understood what I was going through.
Oh
And so
no.
I felt so alone. And it was COVID. I was so
Yeah,
isolated.
COVID too, so you don't even have, like, the ability to go to a coffee shop with a friend and, like, go for a walk with your baby and, like, with your friends or, like, oh, that's so hard. And you mentioned too, like, having this, like, self-perfectionism growing up. So,
Yeah.
like, couple that on top of being a newborn mom
Yeah.
and not having a blueprint or anything to follow, like, that probably, would you say, has, like, contributed to some of those feelings that you felt postpartum where you're like, "Oh, I have to do it this way," or, I did all this research on my own and I have to do it this way. And if it doesn't go this way, like,
Yeah.
oh
And it's
man.
like, because everything that I learned, I literally researched on my own. Like I did all of like the classes and the courses, and I paid hundreds of dollars for all of these tips and tricks on motherhood, because I read every book under the sun about pregnancy, postpartum, parenting, like trying to
Yeah.
prepare myself for it.
Like
And
nothing prepares you.
no, it was completely different than any of the books. It's like I don't know what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
like, all my sisters are older and they all have their kids. And yes, I think I just felt dumb calling and being like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, what am I doing?" When it's like they're on
Right.
their fourth, fifth, sixth kid, and it's just like, "Oh, it's nothing." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. It's
Yeah.
not nothing. Inside, I feel like
Yeah.
it's nothing." But really, that anxiety just took a huge toll on my experience postpartum with my first, and it's really what propelled me into wellness.
I do want to ask another question about the kiddos, right? So, okay, so how, like, obviously you've kind of had to make your own blueprint, if you will, on wellness for you, for your life. So how, are there, like, any, like, traditions or lessons that you've intentionally created for your girls that break the mold that you were given growing up? And I mean, obviously you lost your mom at a young age, and the things that you're doing for them now, like, what does that look like? What are you teaching them?
My biggest goal in life is to, like, I guess if my health is in my own hands, I'll be damned if I die young. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I have the knowledge and I have the tools to stick around for a long time.
Yeah.
And so if it's up to me, like rainfall, whatever, car accident, I don't know, whatever, if something else takes me out,
Crazy. Yeah.
like that's God's plan. But if it's up to me to live and to be here for my kids for as long as I can, like that is my mission and my duty, to be
Mm-hmm.
here to show up for them. So, going back to what I'm teaching my kids is I want them to know the foundations of health, how to eat properly, like eating, drinking, sleeping, moving their body, managing their stress, and just like enjoying life. I don't want them to get obsessed with like the nuances of, like, for example, like the biohacking things of like, oh well,
Oh
you have
my
to do
gosh.
all these other things, but like forget the foundations of health. And
Yeah.
so that's something that as their mom, I'm really just trying to focus on showing them the basics. Like, yes, they see me cold plunge, they see me meditate, they see me journal, they see me do other things,
Mm-hmm.
but they, like for them, like my daughter woke up this morning with me. She woke up at 5:30 and I was like, oh, I'm going on a walk. You want to come with me? She came on a walk with me. We walked a
Good.
mile.
Yeah.
It's just like little things like that. Or just remembering, for example, for food, my 5-year old, she loves to learn. And I'm
Mhm.
not trying to create any kind of bad relationships with food because I've struggled with that myself. And so something I'm really trying to unlearn, but also encourage for her to have a very different viewpoint on food. And so when we talk about foods, she knows like fruits and vegetables have antioxidants in them. She knows meat and eggs have protein in them. And she knows like we need healthy
Just the
carbohydrates.
basics. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be crazy.
No, and she knows that it's all for a purpose. And I'm
Yes.
like, what do antioxidants do? And she's like, oh, they keep me healthy. They help my blood. They help my brain. Like she knows
Yeah.
the details of them, but I'm never like, you can't have that. You can't have this, or framing food as bad. And
Yeah.
I just like I try to show good, better, best. Like, yeah,
Good.
she'll have a normal sucker, candy, donut, cake. I
Yeah.
never say no to those, but she knows like it's not an everyday thing.
80/20, baby. Like,
Everything is a balance. And so that is something like I'm really proud of. I really am making it a mission of mine to not have good food, bad food, like that kind of mentality, but just like what do I feel best when I eat and what do I know that like because of how I feel after eating it, it's something that I should just have for fun sometimes, you know? And so
yes.
that's the approach that we're taking with our kids when it comes to food. And then just really uplifting my daughters and like complimenting them. I don't think that I was
Yeah.
complimented very often as a kid of not that you have to compliment on like physical appearance, but that's something like
Yeah.
you can count on one hand how many times I was complimented about my appearance as a kid. And it is nice to know, like,
Mhm.
I mean, because I was always told as a kid, you're resilient, you're hardworking, you're this, you're this. And to the point that I'm like, so I'm ugly. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously grateful for those and that people could see that side. But also, I think as females, like, we want people to uplift us also in other ways as well. So I try to give a good mix of both, especially on who they are as people, but also reassuring them that like they're beautiful always.
Yeah.
Like whether or not they're ready
Yeah.
for school or in their PJs, like that they're always beautiful and that you don't have to look a certain way to obtain beauty, but it's always there. Inside,
Yeah.
outside, in every way.
And those are the things that they're going to tell themselves because whatever you're telling them or how you're talking to them is how they're going to learn to talk to themselves.
Yeah.
Like you have to set that example. And I think that like our generation is going to be the generation that really flips the switch because
Yeah.
I didn't get compliments growing up. Like my
Yeah.
dad and my brother, like what were they telling me? Like, good job kicking the kickball. Like you're so strong. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
yeah. So it's like you're saying, it doesn't need to be always physical, but it can be. And that's okay that it is. And it's also good to be more emotional too. Like, oh, like you handled that so well. Like I'm so proud of you. And that's so great. Like you have to have that. And I feel like I wish I had that when I was younger because like
Yes.
telling myself those things now, I'm like, believe it, Courtney. You better believe it.
Totally. Well, and another thing too that I like just came to my mind that I never remember getting as a kid, but now I make it a point to do every single night with my kids is literally sit with them knee to knee and look them in the eyes and talk to them about how their day was, what was exciting, what wasn't, like connecting with them on a deeper level and like asking them questions and having them ask you questions and really feeling like you get like that
Oh, I love that.
regardless of how busy the day is because I'm a very busy lady. Like between having kids, having like my home life, my social life, my work life, and managing
Mhm.
employees, like I am a chicken with my head cut off at
Yep.
best. Like
Yep.
that's my line. And
Yeah.
so I know that during the day, I would say not that I'm not the best mom, but like I'm not the kind of mom that can always be there and watching every single move that you make at all times of the day. That's not at this point with my schedule, it's not my reality. My kids are like
Yeah.
coming with me in the car. We're on the go quite a bit. And so At nighttime, I really try to make it a point to have one-on-one time and have a deep connection and a bond. So it's like, oh, I know that like I can debrief at night with my mom, that I can tell her everything that happened to me today. It gives them
Mm-hmm.
time to kind of stew on like the exciting things that we're going to talk about, and just know that it's consistent, that I'm
Yeah.
always there at night. I will always be there to tuck them in.
Yeah.
And I am grateful for that time, especially building trust now with them as children, because a lot of things happened to me in my youth that I wish I would have had someone that I trusted, that I could have talked to,
Yeah.
and I didn't. And so I
Yeah.
want my girls to feel like they can talk to me, even if it's something good or bad or neutral that
Yeah.
happens in their day, that I am there to listen always.
That's so good. Like you're saying, like you didn't have that. And like, especially when you get older, like your teenage years, when things become really emotional or we have to start making decisions, who are they going to turn to? It's
Mhm.
going to be you.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
I'm excited for as they get older. I'm nervous because I was a hard teenager, I
Yeah.
think, but I'm
Well,
excited.
rightfully so. You didn't have structure, you didn't have guidance, right? You're like, my way or the highway, dad. Like,
Yeah.
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 So, okay, so what's one boundary that you've kind of had to set between business and time to with your girls, and like how are you finding that balance between the two to protect that time with your girls?
Yeah. Um, I have gotten really good at not replying. When I get home from work, like, sorry, if you text me on a Tuesday, you're not getting a response till Wednesday or Thursday. Like, that is just like my Tuesday. I swear I don't exist to the world unless if it's a Tuesday, and that's the day that I work 8 to 8. So,
Yeah.
like, that's when my phone blows up and everyone all of a sudden wants to chat. And I love that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's literally the only day that like I can't respond at beck and call. So
Yeah.
when I get home from work, like phone's gone. She's gone.
Yeah.
Like when I get home, the last thing I'm going to do is reply to a bunch of people, like especially clients that I just spent 12 to 13 hours with throughout the day. Like
Yes.
I used to feel like, especially it was a lot harder, I would say, in the beginning of my business when I was alone and
You didn't
I
have
was
the
I
team to
was the
help.
receptionist. I was the person that was talking. I was talking to the reps. I was scheduling. I was doing everything all at the same time. And
Mhm.
I had to be available because I was growing. Now I have
Mhm.
people to help me, and I really give a lot of the credit of the growth of my business to my team because they've allowed me to be a mom a lot more than I ever thought that I would be running a business.
Mhm.
And I think if I like genuinely, if I gave more time to my business, I think it could be a lot larger, but I am
Mhm.
choosing to grow slower if I'm not here
Yeah.
in person as much because I do realize my kids are only little ones and these are likely my last kids. Like I don't plan on having more children at the moment. And so like sorry, I do
Mhm.
have a scarcity mindset of like these hours are few and I'm going to take what I can get because I'm the one that's missing out on the hours. It's like
Mhm.
it's their childhood and I'm the only one that's going to be able to relay it to them, right? Cuz they're not going to remember
Yeah.
these things, but I will. And
Yes.
I don't want, I mean, thankfully, my husband and my situation with our work is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm with my girls, and Tuesday, Thursday, my husband works from home. And so we have this like nice tandem with our schedules that I never ever fathomed my kids would be able to have as much time with dad as they would with mom. I think that's
That's
amazing and
so
it's really
great.
healthy and it's really cool that that's their
Such a good
situation.
balance.
But I didn't ever anticipate this for myself. I thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. I never thought I was going to own or run a business. I never had the desire to growing up. And I'm grateful that it's happened the way that it has, but it was never in the cards for me. So, not gonna lie, at times there's been times that I'm like resenting how hard I went with work at times because I'm like, why did I do this when my kids were so young? Like these are
Mhm.
days that like I don't want to forget that I will only get one time. And now I've had to reframe my mindset and be like, but look at the time that you're going to get later when they
Yeah.
can remember you being there. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm really trying to set myself up for. I would say financially as a parent is so that I
Mhm.
can show up
Mhm.
and I can do fun things with my kids and I'm not strapped to a 9 to 5 in 10 years from now, when they really need me emotionally. So the sacrifice I'm hoping that I'm putting in now will really turn in the
It'll
end.
pay
But
off. Yeah.
my sister, who's a trauma therapist, I was asking her like, "Oh my gosh, like how do I get my kids to not be on the phone with you? Like how do I prevent
Great
this
question.
trauma?" And she was just saying like have like kids genuinely need 10 minutes of undivided attention. Like for them to feel like their cup is full for the day. 10 minutes of
Oh,
undivided attention
wow.
from their parents. That's not a lot. That's not a huge ask. And so that's why I do the nightly thing is because I know if I would say a half-ass of a mom throughout the day, like doing my best, but
Mhm.
not able to watch all day, every
Yeah.
day, then
I
I
think a lot of women can relate to that
well,
too.
it's even like we have our phones, we have other distractions, we've got stuff to do. Like, and I know a
Yeah.
lot of moms, whether or not they're wanting to work, have to work. And so it's like as long as I can
Yeah.
really be consistent and dedicate that time of I'm gonna be there for you, like for at least 10 minutes every single night. It's typically longer, thankfully, but I'm going to be consistent with my 10 minutes
The
every
bare
night.
minimum, 10
The
minutes.
bare minimum.
Like anybody can do that.
And we do get more. I don't want it to seem like I'm only with my
Yeah.
kids 10 minutes a day because I'm not. I'm with them a
Right.
bit. But of
Monday,
that,
Wednesday, Friday, Alita is offline. Like
yeah,
you're with
like
them.
D&D, do not disturb. Like I'm mommying.
Alita, I'm
So,
trying to talk to you. Like, please respond. Just kidding.
oh, I know it's hard. It's
No, that's
hard
a
and it's
good
hard to
boundary. That's a
but
really good boundary.
those 10 minutes, like, sorry. Like my phone, she's gone. She's dead. She's
Yeah.
in the other room, and I don't regret
As
it.
she should.
And those are some of like the fondest moments that I can even like looking back on the last several years owning my business and having it scale so quickly. I hang on to those nighttime chats. Like those are
Mhm.
where I feel like I really get to like dig deep and know my girls and like we cry together. Like we're
Mhm.
bonding, and
Oh,
it's a very special time of the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the woman who's listening, I think you kind of just made a lot of great points that she can kind of like pick up on this. But so somebody who's out there wondering if she's falling behind in motherhood, and business because she's trying to do both. What is your like couple pieces of advice for her?
Yes, I have a saying for myself, and I try to tell my other mom friends this, but give yourself grace. It's not a race. Like I again, like
Oh,
I'm
yes.
confident that I could have 10x my business by now. I'm confident that I could have if I would have gone a million miles a minute like I started, but I do not regret a second that I stayed home. I do not regret a second that I stayed home.
Mm,
Did it stress me out more financially? Yeah. Yeah. Could I have put some more hours in at the office? Yes. But those are hours like when I really wrestled of like kids or work. Like, oh, what do I show up for? What do I not? The times like I have made it a point to always show up for my kids because I remember people not showing up to my dance recitals. I remember people not being there in the pickup line on time. Like I remember that growing up. I remember when
same.
people weren't there,
Same.
and it's something that now lingers in
Mhm.
my adult years of just like I don't feel like people are going to show up to my parties. I don't feel like people are going to show up to anything that I do because of that. And I never want my girls to think, "Oh wow, yeah, mom always put work before me." And it's something that
Mm,
as a parent though, like give yourself those 10 minutes at night, that one-on-one, because you know for a fact that mentally their cup is full. That is what they
mhm.
need, minimum. And you can meet the
Mhm.
minimum.
Mhm.
I know every
Yeah.
parent can meet the minimum. And
Yeah.
again, give yourself grace. Like thankfully, hopefully we have villages. I mean, there's been
Mhm.
times that I felt like I had a huge village and other times I felt like I had no village. And find your people. Find your
Mhm.
people. Lean on your spouse if you have a spouse or a friend, or just I think also communicating with your kids. Like I am so like I'm so sad. I have to go to work and I have to leave. Like, but I'll be there as soon as
Mhm.
I get home, or I'll see you tonight and we'll have our time together. Like really
Mhm.
emphasizing how excited you are to be with them, I think is so important. Like no like them knowing that like that's the best part of your day. That's what you look
Yeah.
forward to. You're not looking
Yes.
forward to getting the frick away from them. You're looking forward to getting back home to them. And I think just showing
Yeah.
them how important they are to you, because we all
Mhm.
feel that, and like at times we're so overwhelmed as parents, but it is doable to do both. You can also be a person outside of motherhood. And that's something that I really like. Like I like having an identity outside of motherhood. I love feeling like I'm serving my community and having a purpose and also growing my own self. I'm growing my
Mm-hmm.
own knowledge and doing things I never thought
Professionally,
I would do
personally,
professionally.
yeah.
I never thought I'd be a business lady, but here we are. Like we're doing it. And I'm so proud that I've been able to prove that I could do both because
Mm-hmm.
motherhood for me is very intimidating. It is where I
Mm-hmm.
feel like out of all the jobs that I do that I fall short. But
Yeah.
in retrospect, it's like, well, I not that I'm grateful that I don't feel like I'm ever good enough, but like it's always something that like I know if I have the mindset that I can always do better and I'm always striving to do better, that like my kids are in a good spot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if I
They
cried.
are.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's okay. I love it. And I freaking love coming into Flourish and seeing your girls just walk in like they own the place.
Oh,
Like
they're the
they
future.
are confident
Yes.
little girls and like who are they getting that from? Right? Like it's you and your husband and like they see what you're doing. And for any woman out here listening to that who also is a business owner or is somebody who's very career oriented and still shows up for their kids, like they see that and they're going to embody that like as they grow up too. I'm like, for me growing up, it's like I saw my dad's hard work and I'm like, granted, he wasn't always there for me growing up. Like,
Mhm.
that's that. But like, I saw how hard he worked and provided for my family. So I was like, okay, like I got those traits and everything from him and I still see that. And I'm like, he rocked. Like he did what he could. And
Yeah.
like, no matter what, like you're saying, like you're doing the best that you can. And a lot of women out there also are doing that too. And like, give yourself grace. It's not a race. I
Yeah.
love that.
I think a lot of women get comments, like, especially if you're a working mom, whether it's by choice or not, because remember, not all working mom are electively wanting to work. But
Right. Yeah.
if
Got bills to pay.
yes, and sometimes I have gotten comments from moms that are stay-at-home moms and who get to be stay-at-home moms, whether they're choosing to or not. Again, that's not always a choice sometimes. But I've gotten comments here and there of like, "Oh, I could never spend that much time away from my kids," or like going back to work 3 weeks postpartum. It's like you think you think I wanted to, like that I needed to separate myself at that moment. I mean, some moms actually want to because like they do find a lot of purpose outside of motherhood as well, which is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think societally, like, I do feel like parents belong in the home, but not just the mother. I think that the father is just as
Yeah.
important to be a part of the children's
Mm-hmm.
lives, of their development, of their trust circle. It is just as important for the dad to be there as it is the mom, or just a parent in general, or a grandparent, whoever can. Someone needs to show up for the kids. And it's hard
Mm-hmm.
sometimes to not take offense to those comments because I always thought I was going to be a stay at home mom. I get to do something
Yeah.
else. And I'm grateful that I'm not losing myself in motherhood, but I'm like finding myself in so many different aspects of my life. And I have some friends whose moms were stay-at-home moms and they ended up being like, I feel like I'm going crazy. Like, what's my purpose outside of motherhood? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And they end up becoming very sad because they had so many years of their life where they did sacrifice for their children, which is again
Mm-hmm.
not a problem, but forgot to take care of who they were and who they wanted to also become once their children, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, don't need them as much anymore as they become
Right.
adults. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
regret this path that I'm on at all. I'm very grateful for it, especially because it was about a month ago. My daughter told me that she wants to work at Flourish someday. And that like literally brought me to tears. And I'm
Mm.
like, wait, like you think I'm cool. You think that what I'm doing like worth something. And I just felt like a huge
You
amount
think
of like
I'm cool?
gratitude that she sees what I do as like something that she would want to do in the future someday. I mean, she can choose
Yeah.
whatever the frick she wants, but it validated that she doesn't see where I go as a negative thing, that she actually would like to be there too, you know? So it's
Mm.
pretty cool.
Yeah. I love that. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So I'm going to ask every person on this podcast this question. Okay. So, what's one rule or one piece of advice or like a small blueprint that you were told to follow as a little girl or as a woman in adulthood that you've since thrown out? And what did you replace it with?
Yes. Okay. So this one, I feel like growing up, especially in a very high demand religion, thankfully it's not the way that it's taught anymore, but I was really influenced that my worthiness was my worth. And I have since, I don't know, like I feel like I've always kind of been the type of person like I'll figure it out for myself. Like if I fall, like I'll get myself back up, but let me do that. Like let me take
Mhm.
the hard route because
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm that kind of person. If you tell me I can't do something, I'll go do it.
Mhm.
Just
Yep.
to prove that like I did it and like I'm still okay. But I think growing up feeling like my worthiness was my worth. And so anytime I fell short, I felt like I was worth nothing, that I wasn't deserving of love, that I wasn't deserving of success or of an amazing family in the future. Like I genuinely believed that I was worth nothing as a teenager. And to the point that like I contemplated my own life several different times, especially being abandoned several times. I'm like,
Mhm.
I just assumed and felt like no one sees my worth
Yeah.
because and I alluded it to I'm doing something bad. And I think that
Mhm.
this can go like whether you're thinking of it spiritually, of like a spiritual expectation that you have for yourself, or even a professional expectation. Like if you fall short at work, or if you fall short in your personal life or with your own personal goals, like that does not determine the worth that you have in God's eyes ever. Like you are
Mhm.
always worth everything and more. And
Amen.
yeah, it's something that having to relearn and having to fix that perfectionist mindset that I had with myself and giving myself that grace has been a game changer for me. Just like I think it's actually allowed me to be so much more successful. Like I
Mhm.
yes, I do feel like I'm falling short, but I don't feel like I'm the scum of the earth, that I'm not deserving of success. And so I think really retraining your mind, if you struggle with that, which I think a lot of women do, especially
Mhm.
with the parents that we had, I think we all grew up in a kind of a
Yes.
shame era. And
Mhm.
now we can rewrite that for ourselves and for our kids, just to have that abundant mindset that I am worthy of everything and more, and that I can do everything, and that if I fall short, that it is not the end for me, and that I don't have to
Mhm.
give up, or or for me it's mainly a spiritual thing. I'm a fairly
Yeah.
religious person or spiritual person, and so I always just I want to do the best that I can because I love God and I want to show up for him because I know he's always shown up for me. So,
Mhm. And he is here on this podcast, like, because that's, like, the main driver of, like, this podcast. Obviously, the idea came from him, and, like, when people talk about their faith on this podcast, like, it's just, like it's full circle, right? It's like, when you're talking about falling short, it's, like, where he makes up the difference. Like, that is so important, and our worthiness was never meant to be on a platter of like how well we do in business or how good of a mother we are or how good of a wife we are, partner, whatever. Like it literally has everything to do with God and like he put us all on this earth with some type of mission, with the skills, with the knowledge, with the voices that we have. And I think that you're doing amazing work. You're an amazing mom, amazing wife, all of the things.
thank you.
And that piece of advice, like, I hope anybody who's listening to this podcast can just like, it just like gives me chills and like it makes me like choke up because like God is so good, y'all. Like, he speechless. Like, it's just crazy what he can do for your life. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Alida, for
Thank
coming
you.
on this podcast. Like, your story is incredible, and I know that so many women are going to be able to listen to this and take some bits and pieces from it and be able to, just feel comfort and feel good. So I'm
I'm
so
so
glad that you were
excited.
able to come on.
I know this podcast is going to be so successful, and I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited for all the women to come on here and to be able to interview or to be able to chat with you in an interview because it is
Yeah.
it's really nice to be able to self-reflect and also for someone else to acknowledge your hard work. Like I really appreciate you having me
Yeah,
on. Thank you.
of course. Thanks for being my first guest.
Of course, I just love you. I'll come on anytime.
Okay,
Anytime you need
once
to
a
fill in, I'll
week.
be here.
Okay. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you like it, comment, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And if you got some value from it, Miss Alida, where can everybody find you, Alida?
On Instagram, I'm at Flourish with Alida. And then my business is Flourish Wellness Club. So that's where you
Love
can
that.
find me.
And if you're in Arizona, literally anywhere in Arizona, Tucson, Flagstaff, wherever, drive. It's worth it. Go see Alida at Flourish Wellness in Gilbert, Arizona. She literally is 35 minutes from my house, and I drive 35 minutes one way to go see this woman and everything
And I
that
work
they have there.
virtually. I work virtually
Yes,
too. If
and she does
anyone
work
is
virtually.
single, so I can work with
Oh, that's right.
anyone.
Amazing. Okay. Well, guys, if you have any questions for Miss Alida, go give her a follow. She will answer all of your questions. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on the next episode.